and welcome to my Stitchy podcast. I hope you're well. I hope you've had a lovely week so far. It's already Thursday. The week has gone so quickly this week. We've actually had, in fact, this time last week we went away and we had a few days in London with our son, daughter-in-law and our little grandson, and that was lovely. He's 6 months old now, and there were bath times and walks in the park. He's sitting up, gone in his cot, so many changes, they grow so quickly. So that was lovely, and we got back on Monday evening, so I suppose that's partly why the week feels like it's gone so quickly, but it has whizzed by. And we've got bank holiday in the UK next week, which is rather lovely. I hope you're well, depending on where you are in the world, because sometimes people message me and they'll say, you know, you're just about to go into your spring, or you might be in a part of America where it's unseasonably warm or not. It's what I always love, because, you know, we have a thing with weather and I love hearing about that. But in London, certainly the part of London we were in, the parks are, it's like autumn, it's like full autumn. We were walking through thick leaves, brown leaves, you know, not even the beautiful show of autumn, just dead leaves. And I was reading on the BBC how trees have gone into this sort of preservation panic mode, and kind of shut down really as a way of surviving. We've had more rain here recently, but London, I don't think, barely have had anything. That's really sad. I think that's sad because some of them, they've said, are not going to make it, some will. And I actually think if we have rain now with the unseasonably warm weather, they could start shooting again, thinking it's spring. And then, because I don't know if you've noticed, they're already buried. And apparently the other thing they do is, they're like an oak tree, will produce lots more acorns in an attempt to preserve and continue, which I think is amazing. But also the berries have started coming out earlier. So they think the animals might struggle for food in winter. So it's a bit of a muck-up, really. It feels more like a normal autumn, you know, coming into sort of late summer, going into autumn now, feels a bit more normal, but I have not enjoyed it. I don't like hot weather at all, and I haven't actually done a whole lot of making because of actually having things on my lap, you know, if you're knitting or crocheting. So it's mainly been sewing, although I have got a knit planned. Anyway, I'll show you what I've been doing. I'll also talk to you later, if you're interested, it'll be sort of towards the end of the podcast, about our new 12 days of Christmas box. So, last time, I think it was last time, sorry, that was a Harry Potter reference. I think I talked about some bleach printing that I was doing, which I should say, I think I said it at the time, very much inspired by somebody on Instagram called Buku. So I've done the bleach printing before with varying different degrees of success, but it was seeing it on her feed that made me think, I'm going to do that again. And she was doing circles as well. So that's a lovely account to follow. And I did it on some black linen, which I have been stitching on and filming bits of it for Patreon, but I've also tried another couple of colours on different fabrics to see how they go. And this one was done on cotton, and it's actually a lovely piece of old vintage cotton with some really pretty stitching on the back, which I'll incorporate into whatever I do with this. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I don't know if it's going to be a bag or something to hang on the wall. I've no idea. But basically I did the same thing where I did lots of, took the colour out of the fabric using bleach in circles because I wanted it to look like a little bouquet of flowers. Honestly, probably looks more like balloons, but we won't worry about that. And then I've chosen the one colourway and then filled them all in lots of different ways, and then used some linen thread for some stalks stems. So yeah, I've enjoyed doing that, and it is one of many things that I have got going on. This one here that I found, actually, when I went to London, I thought, oh, panic mode, I'm going away for a few days, got to take loads of things with me. Grabbed a few project bags, not knowing what was in them, and found this one, which is something that I started a couple of months ago or so. Cow parsley, when cow parsley was out. Not quite sure what my thinking was with that. I think I was going to put lots of flowers sewn on, applique all the way around. But anyway, I picked that up again, which I love. And as I said before, I think it's lovely. I do that. I flip from one thing to another, but I don't think it matters. And the whole bag is absolutely rammed full of laces and threads, bits and pieces of fabric, things that oh, a pair of scissors, I didn't know they were in there. Tapestry wool, everything that I think I might put in it. I'll put a bit of lace, and I often think, where's that? I don't know where that embroidery thread is. I know I've got it, and then that's where they go. So yes, I've been doing lots of sew stitching and embroidery, and I really have been looking at some accounts lately. Want to do some cross stitch again. Haven't done that for ages. And the other thing I have been doing is putting finishing touches to the blocks for my little grandson's quilt. So it's not sewn together yet, but that's a quick bit really. So another face going on. And then what I decided to do, so I'm doing the We Are Family quilt. I think I called it My Family in the newsletter that I've just sent out, but it's We Are Family quilt. And I decided to go a bit off piste with it actually and do some of it differently. So what I did was, instead of, I gave this one a wonky mouth. I love giving them faces. What I did was I decided to, instead of doing stars, I can't remember what the other one was, I've decided to stick with the circle thing, because most of them, it starts off, the first ones you do are these, well the first ones I did were these circles. And I loved doing them. They're not really circles. He's going to grow up thinking, no, that's not a circle, that's a circle. But anyway, lots of circles. So I decided to just do some strips of fabric and put all different circles on them. I can see that one's very wonky there. With all different things. Oh, that's another little one that I've got ready now and put the border on. It's got Eeyore on. So I've done lots and lots and lots of those, and they are pretty much all ready to go. You had on a little sort of romper suit, almost that exact fabric when I was up there the other day. So, and I've loved doing that. So that is, I've got about another 3-4 blocks to do, which will be very quick, and then I'm going to stitch that together and that will be done. And actually looking at his cot, this is probably going to be too big to actually go in the cot initially. And he sort of sleeps in a little sleeping bag sort of thing. But I think it might be used for a play blanket or whatever before it is properly used as a cot quilt. Loving that. And the other thing is, I'll put all this back together. The other thing that I wanted to do is I'm going to knit him a little cardigan or jumper, because he's got another little holiday coming up and I thought it would be nice to do that for him. And I'm going to do that. This is it was chapter 2, our Wind in the Willows. So this was our little bookshelf yarn club. And this was chapter 2, which was Wind in the Willows. And I thought that would make a lovely little cardigan. So I'm looking for something really quite simple. A, because I'm quite a slow knitter. B, because I don't do complicated patterns. So if you could recommend a really lovely, simple cardigan or jumper for, I'm going to knit it in, say, a 1-year-old size, because he's quite big now. He's only just over 6 months, but I think a 1-year-old. So if you would like to recommend a pattern, I would be really grateful for that, in fingering weight yarn. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I might cast that on later. And I've also been putting a few rows on my granny stripe blanket, and just faffing really from one project to another. That's fine. Talking about the clubs, the Alice in Wonderland, which I think was chapter 4, is probably going to go out tomorrow. We had great fun doing that one. And chapter 5 is probably going to come to the shop next week. I say club, you can just dip in and out. It's just, you don't have to subscribe to it or anything like that. You can just nip in and out. But there isn't one of these currently on sale at the moment, but the Botanist Club, which is our Minis Club, that went up last week. That will be open for about another week, and that is that's roses. That's going to be a really pretty one. So I'm going to quickly show you the autumn yarns first, and then I'll have a quick natter about the 12 days Christmas box and explain it, so there's no confusion about what actually it is. So we have done a few. Have I said everything I wanted to say there? It says squinting. I think I have. So the animals of Foxglove Wood have been very vocal recently for 2 reasons. This is the first one. They've had a lot of autumnal yarns. Sorry, I'm making sure I'm still recording. Don't know if I ever told you I recorded one before without actually turning it on. Horrific. So I'm just going to show you some of the autumnal yarns. So the first one is Nature's Splendid Show. And on all of the listings, there's a little couple of lines to do with Foxglove Wood. So this is Nature's Splendid Show, which is a sort of gingers, amber. Oh, that was a big sigh, Archie. Ambers and sort of plummy reds and mossy greens. These are all on our 4-ply sock base. Also, just to say, because I've had quite a few questions lately from people asking, they've got a finger in weight pattern, and we also do some of these of our yarns in 2-ply. Do they need to hold 2-ply double to get 4-ply? No, the 2-ply is just a different construction, but they're all finger in weight. They're all sock weight yarns, just to say. But these are all on our 4-ply, waving the yarn around. So that's Nature's Splendid Show. This one is Russets and Roses, and goes quite nicely. And this one is the same sort of lovely gingers, and there's caramels in there, and also this lovely pink for the last, you know, when you get those last little rose petals. So that's Russets and Roses. And this one is The Wonder of Nature, which is reflecting more when the leaves start to go red, when they're just on the turn. That's that really dark, deep sort of crimsony red and bottle greens, and then still the touches of ochre and the soft colours, so that it does sort of transition. And then this one is Autumn Comes to Foxglove, which, as you can see, are again gingery oranges and this lovely red. That's Autumn Comes to Foxglove. This one is The Leaves Are Flying, which is really when the leaves are starting to properly go brown and they're all wishing around. That's a word, wishing, in the air when you're walking along. So that's The Leaves Are Flying. And then lastly, this one is, I believe it's in celebration of berries. So that's blueberries, all sorts of berry colours in there. Blueberries, soft pinks, damsons, Yeah, now there are more autumn colours coming. In the next week or two. So, we've also got some Halloweeny yarns, and our Christmas yarns that we've started putting into the shop if you want to get on with your Christmas. I know it's whistling August, but I know a lot of people like to do their Christmas knitting with more sort of traditional, what you would think of as colours you would use around Christmas time. So they're going in. We've also got some bags. So this bag I've called Colours of Autumn. And this is a lovely pure linen. It's quite slubby. It doesn't go with, but I mean all of these yarns. It's just a lovely autumnal bag. This one's got some cheeky polka dot, some bottle green polka dot. This is the smaller size. So this is what you would use for a small shawl or a sock. As you can see, you'd probably get 2 skeins in there. And this is the bigger size. So this has got a cotton polka dot lining, the smaller size. The bigger one, there's this one and one other one which I actually don't have with me because I sent it off this morning, but so you'll see it on the website. There's 2 different linings for this one, and this is again, it's the same pure linen on the outside, and this is a linen cotton mix in a gorgeous chocolatey brown, which is lovely. And that's a bigger one, and that will take 3 skeins. Probably more than 3 skeins, but definitely 3 skeins, yeah. So they're all autumnal, and that's the Colours of Autumn bags, and you'll see them in 2 different sizes and the different linings. And they're also, I don't know if I've shown you these before, but they're Woodland Deep and Flowers of the Forest. I think this is quite Tudory actually, this one. And these again are smaller size drawstring bags, more polka dot. And this one's got a beautiful cotton lawn lining, which is the Country Gardens fabric I use for the Country Garden bags as well. I've used that for the lining. So that's all. I'll very quickly show you. I haven't brought the Christmas yarns, I've just brought 3 to give you a flavour of the kind of things that are going into the shop. So this is Gemstones. I think this is in the shop. This is Amethyst. I don't think this is, and this we haven't had time to put in yet. This is, squinting away, Jewel Bright. So these are the kind of colours, don't have to be for Christmas, but they fit with your Christmas knitting, I think. And if you go to the shop, we had a little play with it yesterday, and we've sort of changed some of the headings, and there is Christmas there now, where you will find what I'm just about to talk about. Because that's my natter, and I'm just going to talk about the calendar now. Not calendar, the box. It's not an advent calendar. That's the first thing I wanted to say. So we've just put in the shop our 12 Days of Christmas box, which we've called By the Fireside. And it is designed to be opened from on the 12 Days of Christmas, which is starting on December the 25th. There's nothing to say you have to open yours on December the 25th. We'll be sending out in November. If you wanted to open it earlier, you could, but it's designed to be open from December the 25th through to, I think it's January the 5th. And it is 12 20-gram minis on our sock base, so the same base as this, our 4-ply sock. And it is, you'll get to, each one is individually wrapped in tissue, and then it comes in a little fabric bag. And the idea of the bag, and numbered, so you'll get the 25th, 26th, 27th. And the idea is that you can unpick the little bags and make something with the fabric after. That's the idea. So the fabric is always chosen to sort of go with each other, so you could make a cushion front or whatever you wanted to do. The same with the advent. There'll be a little sprinkling of gifts going through as well, and you can choose to have the minis only, which will come with a few little extras, or you can have the minis plus sock set or mini sock set and bag. Looking through the orders that came through last night, probably the one with the sock set and bag is the one that's going quickest, but they're all sort of selling quite equally. If you're interested in any of them. The sock set, I keep doing this. The sock set is, if you had our Joyeux Noël Advent, that runs from the 1st of December through to the 24th. So this is that's centered on a little girl called Chloe, and that's very much going from Provence into Paris in the late 1800s. This is our foxglove wood, and there'll also be a little peek into the cottage. And the animals have done all the hard work for Christmas, and now they're sitting down, feet up, toes stretched out towards the fire, having a lovely cozy Christmas. And the box will also take you through Christmas with a little short daily narrative into New Year, where they've got lots of ideas and plans and fresh hopes and that excitement and freshness that I think New Year brings after thank you, Archie, a fairly kind of sedentary Christmas. The sock set, so if you have ordered our Advent, if you ordered the sock set, usually the sock set is opened on Christmas Eve, your Christmas Eve cast on. But if you didn't have that and you were interested in the sock set, then the idea is you would actually open that Christmas Eve on the 24th, and then all the little packages from the 25th onwards. Thank you. He's spinning on the spot, trying to find a... Are we happy now? Excellent. Does your dog do that? He will just stand up and he'll turn that way a couple of times, and then he'll turn back the other way, and then he'll sit down and then he'll get up again. And I think we're settled. The other thing I wanted to say is we have put this as international. So for the UK, it goes special delivery. And for the rest of the world, it goes international tracked. And the reason for that, because I know that does make the shipping more expensive, but it's the only way we can get the compensation for the parcels, because otherwise the compensation is only about £20–25. And should the box go missing, they're much more expensive than that. So that's why we send it international tracked. And tracked in the UK. I think that's all I'm going to say. If you've got any questions about the 12 days of Christmas box, let me know. You can ask here on Instagram or send me a message via the shop. That's in the shop now. You'll find it under Christmas. And yeah, we're excited to create it for you. We've been working actually for the last 2 weeks quite heavily on the Advent, on the Joyeux Noël Advent, and that's looking really, really nice now. We're really pleased with how that's shaping up. And this, if you have ordered the Advent, this will be, the colours, etc., will be different. Although that said, it might be quite nice to transition the end of the Advent into this, so that if you did want to, if you have ordered the Advent on our sock base, because that was offered on 3 bases, if you did want to transition into these, we'll try and make it so that you can. So anyway, that's me having had a good natter. Let me know what you're up to, what you're reading, what you're watching. I've just finished watching Marriage with Sean Bean, which is one of those dramas where actually nothing really happens. But that's what life is, isn't it? Because most people go through their daily lives and nothing much really happens. And I love that. I love having a peek into people's lives. So I enjoyed that. And I'm going to start watching Virgin River again, because ridiculously I save it so that I've got some to watch. So what are you watching? What do you recommend? And quite a few things that you said last time are on my to read and to watch list. Thank you for listening to my waffle. Happy creating, and I will see you next week. Thank you.